Hello, everybody. My name is Rick McCutcheon. I'm a Dynamics 365 MVP. And today on PartnerTalks, I have Anya Ciecierski. Anya, introduce yourself. Tell people what you do.
So I help ERP and CRM partners to get more exposure for their content. And a lot of times that involves helping them to find ways to write that content better, faster, because honestly, there's never enough content to go around in our space. And in my experience, I found that that's the most effective type of marketing is outbound content marketing to get leads.
And you're also co-founder of probably the most successful set of blogs in the Dynamics community as well.
That's right. Thank you very much. So in 2009, I started the ERP Software Blog, CRM Software Blog, and ERP Cloud Blog, actually just owned a few years ago. And those sites get about 90,000 visitors combined and really are focused on educating prospects and users that are evaluating ERP and CRM products in mainly in the Microsoft Dynamics space.
So that's 90,000 per month?
90,000 per month, yep.
Wow, excellent. Very good. So when we're talking content, this is a person who knows about content. So what we're going to talk about today is you have a new program that you were showing me last week around, building case studies, which I think a lot of partners really need because we're always looking to, how do I elevate my business, above the crowd? And I think there's nothing better than a case study. So let's talk a little bit about, content, but the use of case studies to really, drive leads and to drive eyeballs to your website.
Yeah. I mean, I think always in life, we look for reviews. We look for someone like us that liked this product, that liked this service. And in our industry, the most professional way to do that is usually with a case study. And when you have a nice library of case studies on your website and available to give to prospects and to users, you can pick and choose by industry, which is the best fit, which is the closest to them. And if you have multiple products, of course, it's a way to highlight how those have really impacted a real company. And I think focusing on quantifiable benefits is always extremely helpful because people want to know really, how did this help? Is this a legitimate case study? Can they put hard numbers behind it? And I'm sure you've seen in the sales process that that's true as well.
And that's what I was going to talk about, because we're seeing in the sales process now for B2B software that customer is probably somewhere between 60 and 80% through their due diligence, right? Or buying process before they're actually going to contact you. Now, for an ISV, that means you may be shortlisted with 2 or 3 ISVs that do a similar product. But with an SI, systems integrator, there may be half a dozen partners in their area or their area of expertise. And I think having those case studies really helps through that due diligence process.
Yeah. And there's so many ways to use case studies beyond just what people think about. I'll write it, I'll just put it on my website. Maybe we used to print them out, hand them out at trade shows, things like that. But there's really a lot of ways that once you put the work into writing one and getting permission from your customer, which is not always extremely easy, there's a lot of ways you can use them. For example, of course, I'm all about blogging, so you can summarize that case study multiple times in multiple different ways and use those as blog posts. You should pick out snippets and use those on social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, other areas. You can feature it in an email blast to prospects because it can kind of spur their curiosity, especially if they see a company name that they recognize. You can also pull out the testimonials that you get from clients. Those are gold. So you can pull those out and put them standalone on your website on a specific, testimonials page or a product documentation. I've also used them as a direct mail piece or leave it behind if you're at an in-person meeting. Use it to be a way to connect with someone on LinkedIn. So Rick, you're amazing on LinkedIn, but you always want to have something to talk about. So that could be a way to kind of resurrect some interest with an old prospect or connect with someone new to say, hey, have you read this new case study? Did you hear about how XYZ company saved 20% a year on inventory costs?
And that's a really good point, Anya, because if I'm a salesperson, right, I want to talk to a prospect and probably hand them a case study. And, a lot of times when we're selling ERP and CRM systems, this sales process could be anywhere from 3 months to 3 years in length, right? So we really need to start feeding content to kind of keep us in the game, but also to, keep talking to that prospect, give us a reason to reconnect with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, did you read this brand new case study we did? I didn't have it 3 months ago when we talked and you went cold, but now I have this new case study.
Now we're trying to resurrect you with it. Yes.
Exactly. You could combine a bunch of case studies, make it into like kind of an industry specific ebook. You can send it to your referral sources. Sometimes your referral sources don't actually understand what you do. They might think that they do, but a case study can show them specifically, hey, this is the kind of lead that we want you to give us.
So on that, and we talk about partners again, you need case studies if you're an ISV looking to get resellers, if you're a partner, and I work with some that, do specific things like mobility or e-commerce, and they do a lot of P2P work, right? Partner to partner work. Those case studies really help send that information to other partners. But also what we don't think about sometimes is Microsoft. Microsoft knows they've got lots of partners, and we're dealing with the sellers at Microsoft. This is a good reason to come back to the seller I'm working with and say, hey, Susan or Frank, here's a case study for manufacturing. Oh, I didn't know you guys did manufacturing. Well, we do everything, but you know what, we want to show you this one for manufacturing. So I think it really not only working with other partners, working with customers, but in our relationship with Microsoft, I think case studies help quite a bit.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Okay. So let's talk about the new package that you're offering. So I saw in your brochure, which we'll attach to this, that I can have a standalone case study, or we can buy a package of 3, but kind of take us through the process of how you guys create these case studies.
Yeah, so my team has gotten good at talking about our industry and has great interview skills. And I think that's what you need for a good case study writer. So the package that we put together includes an interview call with the internal project manager, the subject matter expert at the ISV company, to really get a feel of what do you want the main theme of this case study to be? What do you want prospects to get out of it? Then we'll do about a 30-minute interview call with the client, the customer, and really try to draw out, like I said, that quantifiable information, why they like the product, what difference it made in their business, things like that. And then we'll do a professionally written and designed case study of about 1,000 words, including quotes and benefits and business challenges, things like that. And we have 3 templates that an ISV could choose from, so that has a nice, consistent, professional look and feel for that case study.
Okay, so that's great. And what I like about it is, everybody is, tied up because of lack of resources, even the marketing departments. So everybody needs up-to-date case studies. And I think this is going to be a great service going forward for some of my customers and new customers. So Anya, we were also talking about, this fall, which is coming very quickly, October. We've got the big DCI Summit event in Orlando. We're expecting several thousand of our Dynamics ecosystem friends there. So tell us what you're going to be doing there, because that'll be a great place if partners want to meet you face to face.
Yeah, so I'll be attending the event. This will be my first big in-person event back. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I'll be there as a media sponsor, a press sponsor, and be interviewing some of the key executives that may be coming from Microsoft or different areas, floating around the expo floor, talking to the sponsors and the presenters. Of course, I want to tell them how great the ERP and CRM software blogs are as well. But my main goal will be to get the message out to others about who's at Summit, what the news is coming out of that, and what they can do when actionable items they can do when they get back.
Okay, Anya, again, thanks for your time, and I'm sure we'll be back talking to you in the near future about content and how partners need more content to help them in their sales process.